Welcome to the first ever 32-team power rankings in James's Madden franchise. I'm your host, Rocco. I'm also known as the Packers in the league. And let's kick things off with these Week 14 32-team power rankings. As we fall into that one, at number 32, we have the Seattle Seahawks, who are 1-12. Nothing much to say about them here, other than they've been a CPU AI team pretty much the entire season. Coming up after them, we have the Las Vegas Raiders, who are also 1-12. Now, they have a new head coach who hasn't even played a game in the season yet. Their record's terrible, but they do have a solid roster that does have a chance to be good next year, but they do lack a heavy run game this season, which has been their main issue for this team. Coming in next, at number 30, we have the Denver Broncos, who are 3-10. A new head coach with the Dragon, who's a veteran in this league, been in and out of it, but he's got solid capabilities. We've seen him make the playoffs multiple times. It's not going to happen this year with the record he's been given. They do have a lot of potential next season with the weak division, with their main threat as the Chargers, who have been an amazing team this year. Next up, we have the New York Giants. They're 2-11. A surprisingly really bad season from a typically good user who's been in the playoffs a lot of the times. They do not have a win at home yet this season, and the only bright spot really on their team is Malik Neighbors. So something to look for with the Giants. Typically good user, just no home wins, nothing much going for them this year. Coming in at number 28, we have the Miami Dolphins with yet another new head coach with a record of 3-10. Haven't shown many signs of being great, but they're still getting used to the league and the new team, and they're likely going to get a top 5 pick in this year's draft. They do have a stacked roster, so if they can draft good, they can be deadly next season. Coming in at number 27, we have the Carolina Panthers, who are also 3-10. Another new head coach, hasn't had much success through the season, but many fans do believe that this guy can be their coach for a while. Their roster, though, has a lot of work to do surrounding Bryce Young and getting him some more help. Coming in at number 26, we have the Tennessee Titans, who are 3-10. Their head coach has been busy with many other things this season, which is why they're off to that slow start. They are struggling to find their identity with this not too good roster, we'll call it. But their head coach does know ball and will be good down the line. They just need to put together a better roster. Coming in at number 25, we have the Kansas City Chiefs, who are 4-9. They have a lot of failure. With a team this good, they should be doing a lot better. They're surprisingly bad at Arrowhead with only one home win, and their roster does have the pieces, but head coach Andrew Popin just cannot get it done. Coming up next at number 24, we have the Minnesota Vikings, who are 4-9. McCarthy has failed to develop into the player that they wanted him to be when they drafted him. Their head coach, Nicky T, is typically good, but just cannot get it done this season. They are in a strong division with many improvements needed on the defensive side of the ball. And this guy has not been too good this season. But, oh God, is that Matt Jensen music? Coming in at number 23, we have the Chicago Bears at 4-9. Their head coach has been quote-unquote pledging with not too big of a focus on their team. They do have a lot of young pieces on this team with a bright future ahead, but Caleb Williams has not lived up to the hype just yet. Coming in next at number 22, we have the New England Patriots. They had a new head coach come in mid-season, and they showed signs that they can compete with top-notch teams like the Colts and the Texans, but their roster does need a lot of improvement. But they do have a lot of great players around the team that shine and help them win those 4 games. Coming in at number 21, we have the LA Rams, who are 6-8. They do have a lot of struggles around this team, their head coach being one of them. Turnovers have also been a struggle for them, as they need more young players around this roster with their team being very old. And their offense has been god-awful, one of the worst in the league. Next up, coming in at number 20, we have the Pittsburgh Steelers, who are 5-8. Their run defense has been the best in the league, number one. However, they do allow too many points per game, which does hurt them. And just like in real life, their offense is very, very mid, which is why they are 5-8 at the bottom of their division. Coming in at number 19, we have the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who are 6-7. A main cause for those 7 losses have been way too many turnovers for them, but somehow winning games with a below-average defense and a below-average offense, and they're possibly pushing for a 7 seed in the NFC, as it's a pretty weak conference down there. Coming in at number 18, we do have the Washington Commanders, who are 6-7 and have shown a lot of fight throughout this season. They're a young team looking to fight for second in the division and trying to make that 7 seed, and their running offense and defense have both been great this season. Coming in at number 17, it's the Buffalo Bills at 7-6. Although they are an AI team, they have a great record, and if a new head coach can take over soon, a playoff push is easily possible. They also have Josh Allen. Next up at number 16, we have the New Orleans Saints, who are 7-6. They're fighting for that 4 seed and the NFC South. Their defense has been playing great and part of the reason that they are able to win this division. Their head coach knows a lot of football. Coming in at number 15, it's the Houston Texans, who have been a little bit of a wonky team this year. They are fighting for a possible playoff spot. Both head coaches of this team throughout the season have said that the game does not want them to win most of the time when he loses. The old head coach, Kino, left this team in a dumpster fire with giving himself many forced losses, but they do have a lot of young talent, and they are still able to make the playoffs this year. Turning the page with Kino, we have the number 14 Philadelphia Eagles, who are sitting at 7-6. A lot of people did not expect this head coach to be doing this good in their first year, but they have a winning record, and Saquon Barkley has been their entire team, making a push for Offensive Player of the Year. They're on a great winning streak, and they had a huge upset against the Baltimore Ravens, and are likely going to be the 7th seed if they can hold their own. Fly Eagles fly away from there as we have the number 13 Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 8-5. They have one of the league's best passing offenses, but also one of the league's worst rushing offenses. They have the worst defense in the entire league, which contributes to those 5 losses, and they need some help. However, they're a very unproven team, not beating many teams that are above 500, but they could make a playoff run if they can prove themselves by beating a good opponent in the first round. Heading over to the number 12 Atlanta Falcons, who are first in the NFC South at the moment, but they are only 1 game ahead as they're competing heavily with the Saints to win this division. They have a very average offense and defense, but they do get the job done, and it's able to win them games, and that's all that matters in the end. Falcons will fly away there as we head to the number 11 New York Jets. They're 7-6. However, their pass defense has been great, but their run defense, quite the opposite, one of the worst in the league. But if you go on the offensive side of the ball, their rushing offense is also one of the league's best. They are going to likely be the AFC East winner, with the Bills user not being here anymore. Now, the moment that everyone has been waiting for, the top 10. Coming in at number 10 in the league is Cincinnati Bengals at 8-5. They have one of the league's best passing attacks, but the worst run game in the entire league. They've had lots of brutal losses, most recently to the Cowboys, which prevents them from being any higher on this list. But they're able to make a huge playoff run, deep, possibly even the championship game, if their head coach is able to get out of his own head. Next up, coming in at number 9, the Cleveland Browns, sitting at 9-4, just above the Bengals. They do have a below-average offense and defense, but they're still able to win games. They're second in the AFC North behind the Ravens and can make a decent push in the playoffs. DTR has served as a way better option for the Browns at quarterback than Watson ever has been. Next up, we have the LA Chargers, who are at 9-4. Their defense wins championships. That's what everyone says. And the Chargers have just that, with the number 5 defense in the entire league. Their offense, however, is one of the worst in the league, at number 25, but they're still 9-4. The Chargers head coach is known for turning up in the playoffs, which can help them a lot. Coming in at number 7, may be a surprise to some people not seeing this team higher, but we have the Indianapolis Colts, who are 10-3, and they have been on fire lately and late in the season, winning 10 of their last 11 games. They also have the league's second best defense, which is part of why they've been so good. Along with that, they have the number 1 rushing offense in the league, which could be a nightmare for any AFC playoff team that they end up facing. Next up, coming in at number 6 are the Green Bay Packers at 10-3. The Packers are where they are because of their defense, especially their number 2 run defense and top-tier red zone defense. However, their offense does need some work as it's ranked one of the lower offenses in the league, but their defense has been a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks to play, and it is possible for them to still win the NFC North, but they're going to need a solid amount of help. Coming in at number 5, heading into the top 5 here, are the Dallas Cowboys at 10-3. They are dominant. That's the only word to describe their offense. Number 1 passing offense, number 1 scoring offense, and the number 1 total offense in the league. Nobody has been able to stop the likely MVP Dak Prescott in any game this year, but they do have a below-average defense, but their offense is easily able to make up for that. Coming in at number 4 are the Detroit Lions, who are one of the most well-rounded and stacked teams in the entire league, with the number 3 offense and number 3 defense. They've developed Joe Milton into a top-tier quarterback in the league. I spelled that wrong. I'm sorry. Their head coach struggles while they're losing, however, they are rarely playing from behind. They are able to make a huge run in the playoffs or possibly a Super Bowl appearance if they can get over that hump. And as they fly away there, we have the number 3, which is also probably going to come as a shock to a lot of people, the Baltimore Ravens at 12-1. They are the best team in the AFC, which is no doubt about it. They did have a concerning loss to the Eagles not too long ago, but they are dominant on both sides of the ball with the number 2 offense and number 1 defense in the league, and they're easily the Super Bowl favorite for the AFC. But, as we know, Jack Duke does crumble a lot in the playoffs. Coming in at number 2, we have the San Francisco 49ers at 11-2. They don't exactly have the numbers for all the box score nerds out there, but when you look at their roster and record, it is very easy to tell that they will be causing problems in the playoffs. They rarely turn the ball over, which is their strong suit, with Purdy only having 10 picks thrown in the year. Christian McCaffrey has been able to do it all for the Niners this year. It's a huge part as why they might go all the way. But the number 1 team, their rival, the Arizona Cardinals at 12-1. And there really isn't anything up for debate here. The Cardinals have been the most dominant team in the entire league. They started off 0-1 and never looked back, winning 12 straight games and are easily the Super Bowl favorite in the NFC. Everybody on their team plays a role in every game, with being at least top 13 in every major offense and defensive statistic. This was the Week 14 Power Rankings. Be sure to like and subscribe to this channel for next week's Power Rankings coming next week.